got the tools, yeah, he's the jack of trades. Wendy's grabbing snapshots in the golden rays. The engine's purring like a rock and roll song. They're hitting the road where they both belong.
Hello, welcome to the stories of our experiences in Zion National Park. Zion National Park is in the southwest corner of Utah, and the main entrance is just outside the town of Springdale. To give you some perspective about the size of the park, the Springdale entrance is 22 miles from the Kolob Canyons Visitor Center as the crow flies. If you're not a crow, you got to get out on the highway and it's going to be 42 miles. Now that you have some perspective, I'll get rid of the arrow in the Jeep and we'll talk about the different parts of the park and some of the highlights from each area. First, I'll look at the south entrance just outside of Springdale, and I'll draw a line along the main road inside of the park, which is only accessible by the park shuttle bus or bike. When we went to explore Zion from this entrance, the Jeep was in the shop, so we had to take the big dually truck. Our question for the day was, if you arrive well before sunrise, will you be able to secure a parking space? The answer was a definite yes. Things didn't start to fill up until shortly after sunrise.
Oh, Paul and Wendy, wild and free. Retired life is where they want to be. On mountain trails in the RV glow, making tracks wherever the wheels will go.
Once the sun came up and the shuttle service started, we packed ourselves in with the rest of the sardines and headed out to explore. We rode to shuttle stop 9, where Riverside Walk takes you to the beginning of the famous Narrows hike through the canyon. And, well, we saw a lot of this. Next, we went to shuttle stop 8, Big Bend. There were no trailheads or amenities there, so very few people exited the shuttle at that stop. It was a wonderful place just to walk down to the river and enjoy the peaceful setting nestled in the canyon walls. After we shook off the crowds and regained our sense of adventure, we went to shuttle stop 5. We decided to try a couple of trails. After our hike, we stood in a very long line to get some ice cream at Zion Lodge. Our patience was rewarded with the news that they were out of ice cream. While our ice cream dreams melted in the 105-degree temperatures, we decided that we were done for the day. Next, we'll look at the Kolob Canyon area. This was a favorite of ours because it's easy to get to and not crowded. The visitor center is right off Interstate 15, and that's the beginning point for a 5-mile road that winds through canyons and scenic viewpoints. At the end of the road, there's a scenic overlook and a trail to another overlook. The trail is just over a mile one way. It's an easy trail, but the footing is rocky and uneven, so if you have mobility issues, that might not be a good option. However, in that case, the overlook next to the parking lot is on par with the view from the end of the trail, so you wouldn't be missing anything by skipping the trail. There is a wonderful picnic area just far enough away that you can't see the parking lot. When we had family come visit us, this is the area we chose to take them. Since there aren't issues with traffic or crowds in this area, it's easy to plan for a picnic dinner timed perfectly to be followed by a short hike to see the sunset. Next, we'll take you to Kolob Terrace. This one's a little more out of the way, but had absolutely spectacular golden hour scenery at sunset in several different places.
Wendy clicks the shutter, catching a deer's leap, while Paul's under the hood fixing something deep. Through muddy Jeep trails and winding bends, adventures await where the horizon ends. Oh, Paul and Wendy, wild and free. Retired life is where they want to be. On mountain trails in the RV glow, making tracks wherever the wheels will go.
Here are the couple of things to make note of. You need a high clearance vehicle if you take Lava Point Road, West Rim Road up in the northern section. On the other hand, Smith Mesa Road, which continues far beyond that red line I drew, was a pretty smooth dirt road that wouldn't require the extra clearance. The last section of Zion National Park that we'll cover is the Zion Mount Carmel Highway. The parking areas along this route were fairly crowded, but not so much that we couldn't find spots to squeeze into when we wanted to stop. This road has a couple of old tunnels and therefore has restrictions for length, width, and height. Thanks for going along with us.
There's laughter in the ridges and love in the sky. Campfire tales as the stars fly by. They've left the grind for life's open stage, turning dreams to stories page by page. Oh, Paul.